Hello, welcome to the Cosmic Corner. I'm your cosmic cousin, AudraNite, and today I have with me another cosmic cousin, and it's Kya French. Hi, Kya.
Hi, Audrey. How are you?
I am good. I am good, girl. We are here to discuss the movie Soul, and this movie was so inspiring to me. It has so many levels to it that I just wanted to come and talk about it with you. First of all, why don't you tell our other cousins, cosmic cousins, a little bit about yourself?
My name is Kya French. I am a astronumerical analyst. I study the science of astrology, numerology, and I blend those ingredients both together to give you a reading based off your number, your name, your business. Everything is just through numbers when it comes to me. So that's a little bit of me, what I do now.
Great. And the reason why I wanted to have you talk about this movie with me, because you and I have talked about these things before, and I was just surprised how many of the things that we talked about were represented in this movie. And so I want to get started, first of all, by saying I was quite surprised about the quantum physics aspects and concepts that were in this movie. I was blown away. And I don't know if many people noticed that, but I did a video earlier, I think yesterday, about this, talking about just the quantum physics aspects of it. But there are a lot of more things to talk about this movie. And I just want to know, what did you think? First of all, just tell me, what did you think about the movie when you first saw it?
So when I first saw the movie, it was at later at night, because the fact is really better at nighttime when you watch the movie. So I'm getting the gist of it. And he's a regular guy, just best school band teacher. And, he wasn't for sure if he really wanted to continue to go full time, move from part time to full time, because he felt like maybe he would be trapped, or, he had a passion for something else, music. So he ended up getting the gig, and that gig really, it to me, when he was playing that piano to be a pianist for Dorothy, the character. Everybody just stopped when he played the piano, because it was something that you have a passion for and that you love to do. So on that part, I just find the movie was understanding, like, what is your purpose in life? Like, what do you have a passion for? Like, what are you here to do? And just other things, but I guess we're getting to that. But I'm just thinking more about on the passion side.
I think one of the things that surprised me about that is that there were a lot of metaphysical concepts, that they put in this movie regarding life. We talk about what life is, what this reality is, and things of that nature. And so when they put these kind of concepts, it's like, I love the part where they had the lady who was from the great beginning, the big great becoming. I forgot what they called it, but it was at the very beginning where you have all of these souls, right? And they're waiting to descend down to earth. I'm like, that sounds metaphysical. That sounds like the type of things that we're talking about. But I think that a lot of the times, a lot of the metaphysical things that they're talking about, to me, translates to quantum physics. So it's like the two worlds are coming together now, the science and the spiritual, and that's what quantum physics is. And like I say again, I think I focus on it a lot because I've been involved in quantum physics for such a long time. So every time I see things that have something that has to do with it, it kind of catches my attention. But there are a lot of other things in this movie that caught my attention also, and on so many levels, on as far as Black people, our relationships and things of this nature. I saw some of that in the movie. The fact that they use jazz, which is African-American music, and it's not a very traditional, music form. I thought that was interesting. And so I wrote down some notes for some things, because I knew I was going to forget some things that we can maybe kind of talk about and kind of, expand on. First of all, I bet you didn't notice that in the very beginning of the movie, on the back of the chalkboard, the name of the song. Do you know what the name of that song was?
No, what was it?
Things Aren't the Way They Used to Be.
Okay, I don't know about that, but who sings it?
I don't know, but the fact is, I don't know who sings it, but to me, it reminds me of the Mandela effect.
Mm.
You know, and if anyone isn't familiar with the Mandela effect, it's a phenomenon where a lot of people seem to believe that things have changed in this reality, because many people thought that Nelson Mandela had died in prison and not become the president of South Africa. But we all know he did become the president of South Africa. So how can I think you were one of the people who remembered that also, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember him dying in jail at
You
all.
remember him dying in jail.
I don't.
Well, he didn't die in jail.
And right, he
Okay.
didn't. I don't remember him. Right.
Okay, because see, he did become president of South Africa and died while he was president or after he was president. I'm not sure. But anyway, what I'm seeing, there are people who say they remember him dying in jail, in prison, and never becoming the president. And that's really weird. I thought maybe you weren't one of the people who told me they remembered, they had that memory also. But so when I saw that on the back of the blackboard, immediately thought, I said, you're right. We aren't in the same place where we used to be. So, that just kind of hit me right there. But also another thing that hit me, because like I say, I'm still thinking I'm in my quantum physics mind, right? So at the very beginning, when he walked and he was walking and he wasn't paying attention, and when he fell down that manhole.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the beginning. And it looked like to me, I said, manhole, rabbit hole. He's going down the rabbit hole. You could even look like a black hole that he was when he fell inside. So, those things are still, I'm like, down the rabbit hole, here he goes, So I just saw all of those even in the beginning of the film. So what did you think about, because they kept talking about this spark. The spark, you have to have the spark of life. And I said, wow, this spark thing. I don't know. I was just thinking about when babies are conceived, right? And they start the cells start divide after that first spark. And I'm like, oh, there's that other spark. Just so many different things that I saw that you could look at in more than one way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The character, what was his name again? Don't tell me. Okay. I can't forget his Joe Gardner.
Joe Gardner.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to mention about the spark, and when he was talking to the people that was like overtasking the people with the different personality, the people that's going on to Earth. And he said, I don't get what you guys about this spark or this inspiration, what the mentors and coaches were saying. They didn't get it, because he's like, it's a spark that's what's inside of you that will inspire you. Like when he first took it back when he was a kid, and his father had introduced him to jazz, wanted him to go see this, the jazz concert. At first he was like, man, I don't want to go there. It's like something I would like. But when he got in there, and when he heard the music, it kind of like sparked him to play piano or to be that kind of a musician or whatever it is. But it's
almost as if it woke something up in him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see, the thing about this whole thing, this movie was what I found amazing about it was that if you think about it, it's all about music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we break music down, music is really about vibrations and tones, and frequencies. And so I said, oh, okay. See there. So there, it's always about music. To me, the music represents vibrations and things of that nature. And I'll give an example of what I mean about the vibrations or frequency is because when he wanted to get back to Earth, and he found out where all the souls go and they jump off and they go to Earth. He was like, oh, that's where you go. So he went and he jumped and he kept being pulled back every time, no matter how he tried to go in, because he wasn't of the right frequency. And I understood this, like, you're not the right frequency. You don't belong here. This is not, this is not your place. And it was funny to me. I said, because that's the thing we're learning about, higher frequencies of understanding and of living, you know, and we tend to want to raise our frequency. And I just thought that was amazing, that to me, he could not get back because he was not of the right frequency.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
I wanted to know that part too. Like, why wasn't he able to get back? You know, because he fell in there, you know.
yeah.
You know, but look at all the signs. He was just walking and just on the phone talking. And that just makes, like, if you look around today, if you driving, most people are on their phone. They either have some kind of earplugs in their ears or something. You know, they're not really paying attention of what's going on in their immediate environment. So if you fall into this manhole, rabbit hole, as you said, you know, it's like, wow, it's like a trickle down effect of you pretty much starting all over again, or you being taken back just to understand something else.
And well, you know what was amazing about that was the fact that he was so distracted and not really, you know, being present, like you said. It went to the bigger issue of the whole film, because he was so concentrated on wanting his goal of being this, you know, famous jazz singer, that he wasn't paying attention to his life as it was going on every day. So he was missing out, you know what I'm saying? And just like when he was walking, he was so distracted, he ended up going down the manhole. You know, maybe that was, you know, kind of symbolic of what we do in everyday life. We're not paying attention to things, and things happen to us, and we have to, you know, react to them instead of being present, you know, right now, and being able to sidestep things like the manhole or the rabbit hole, whatever he went down. That was something, you know, really deep that he went down into. It just changed everything. But okay, now see,
deeper down the hole, you know, he started going back. Like, no, I don't want to go to the great beyond. First of all, they never mentioned what was the great beyond. They never mentioned that part, what it was, what it was about. You know, they just put him back on Earth. But he, even once he fell and he saw that everybody was going through that one way, he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to die. He thinking he dying, but nobody really know what the great beyond was. So he
exactly
back, and further back until he fell even deeper down the rabbit hole. When he got down to the places where they were doing the personality, putting everybody in certain areas and stuff like that, I guess to get them more resourceful or gather up their souls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then here's the thing. What I find interesting is that if you Google soul, or say, okay, what I did, Google soul and quantum physics, the movie Soul, but I'm trying to Google the movie Soul because I'm seeing all these quantum physics concepts, you know, in the movie. And when you Google it, nothing comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing comes up relating that to quantum physics, you know, and I find that so amazing because, but what I'm finding, what happens is that we are calling it metaphysics, you know, instead of quantum physics. And so it makes it like there's a difference in what we're talking about, but there really isn't a difference, you know. And I was going to say something else about him and what you were saying, it kind of left me. So anyway, we'll come back to it at some point. But yeah, this movie was just so chock full of layers of information, you know, and I think it depends on where you're coming from in your life experience, what you will pick up on, you know, because there was even, okay, the character Moonwind. Do you remember Moonwind? He was the one with the boat, and he came to save the souls. Astro travelers is what they call themselves. That so reminded me. I said there were like 3 of them, different ways that they were connecting to this different dimension, right? There were some of them that were meditators, because one of them said, she says, oh, I'm sitting here meditating somewhere, and he was. What my point is about him is, I believe he was the drug taker. I believe he was the psychonaut. He's the one that takes the hallucinogenics to get to that other, you know, to get to that other realm. And if you look at it, it's like, wait a minute, yeah, because he looks like one of those kind of hippie guys, you know, he's not like one of those, you know, no, he looked like one, you know, let me smoke this and go wherever. And he was that type, but he did what he did because in that world, in that other dimension, he was a very important person, whereas in this world, he was just kind of, helping his mom out at the store. You could tell he's one of those don't have a job, but that was here. But there, he was very important. He was saving souls and bringing them back to earth and helping them to get through all of their issues, and things of that nature, like a DMT trip or something like that, So, I mean, I found that very interesting that they would insert those type of individuals in the movie.
Yeah, and not only that, the character Tina she was numbered, and everybody was numbered. When they were picking, when they were mating, matching the people, you can say like matching the mentor to the student. They were picking. It was they were by numbers, whether it's 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. They were all numbered, and her number was 22. And
okay, number runner, because I know those numbers had to mean something to you when you saw that number.
I'm like, 22. 22 is a master builder number. 22 is where a person that loves to work with their hands. You have to put your emotion to what you're doing, that you're really feeling your work. And it's the root of a foundation of something. And as up to the number 4. And 4 is the fourth house is Cancer, where it's like it's home, so earth, home, mother, heart, So what he was trying to get her to have some type of feeling, a love or passion for something, because she didn't seem like she had any kind of passion or anything. Like everything just sucks around her. Like nothing was really making her want to do something. Everything was just, she wanted to go back in her box and hide and run, and all these mentors were helping her, and they end up going back, even like she said, Mother Teresa.
Right.
I don't like you, but you like everybody, right? So
right.
So that 22 stuck out to me, and I was like, what is the significance? Not just because the number is 22, but why did they name her exactly 22? For that. And then they had the circle thing in her
badge.
The badge, and the one spot was just empty because she didn't have a soul.
But when she was a soul.
She was a soul. She was a soul, but she didn't have like anything that she really grabs or had a passion for. It's a spark that trigger that
that would complete her badge.
Her badge. So I thought that was interesting. But when she went on Earth, when he tried to do all these things with her to see if she loved music, or they took to see if she loved music or like playing sports or anything like that, she didn't really have a love for it until she walked the mile in his life when she said, asked him, like, is there any other things that we can see? And she took him to his life. And she began to fall in love with some of the things that she was seeing, like even the smallest things from what do you call those things that fall from the tree? I forgot.
Yeah, that little seed. Yeah, I know. I don't know what they call it, but I know what you're talking about. The little windmill like seed thing. Yeah, that he caught. Yeah. And but the thing about that is that I think that what I loved about that is that it's something that I always keep saying is that sometimes we're so busy looking at the big things that, or trying to get to the big things, that we miss the small things, just the regular things that make life worth living, or it makes it enjoyable, or just things that can make you smile. And the fact that when 22 got into his body, 22 saw it like a child. 22 had never experienced these things that we take for granted, like when he ate that pizza. When he was first, it's like, you're like, okay, it's pizza. I like, but for 22, it was like, oh my, just, you would look at someone like, it's just a piece of pizza, but for someone just experience it, that was like amazing, and it's like, it's almost like telling us to, sometimes we got to kind of stop and smell the roses in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And enjoy our present, instead of striving so hard to get to that future.
Live in the moment and just enjoy it.
That's what I think 22 showed Joe, that you're moving so fast, you're so concentrated on this, fame or becoming whatever it is, that you're not stopping to smell the roses.
Even when it comes to them being at the barbershop, because now at that part, she is in his body and he is the cat. And he really understood, to me, I feel like he understood the importance of even getting to know someone. Like, he been getting his hair done all this time, and he never asked the barber like what he do, what's his passion, anything like that. When he finally told him, and he asked him why you never told me, he said, "You never asked, never asked." So there was
beauty. And the beauty of the barber, I loved him because he was showing the difference between Joe and himself, in the sense that Joe was always so, upset about, or striving so hard to get to this goal of his. And here was the barber. What was his name? Oh my God, what was the barber? Des. Yeah, here was the barber who had a dream of being a veterinarian, but because of life circumstances, he wasn't able to do that. So you would assume that he would be all, depressed and, oh my goodness, my life, I had to change my life. And this is what Joe thought, right? But Dad's correcting me like, oh, no, don't feel sorry for me. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because just because that didn't work out doesn't mean that he still couldn't find joy in his life. And I think that's something that a lot of us, don't understand, that it's not so much what you get, it's who you are, because it doesn't matter. I think you and I, we talked about something. I asked a question. I said, how can we be as happy as a billionaire is without having $1 billion? And I asked that question is because we always assume that, oh, if I had that money, everything would be fine. All my problems would be solved and things of that nature. But when you actually really think about it, we're not really talking about money. We're talking about happiness, and is there a way to be happy without having loads and loads of money? And I think that Des, he makes that point to me very, 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 very well, because he didn't have what he wanted. If he was a veterinarian, he would have made a lot more money than you would make as a barber, but he's still happy because it's not about the material things. It's about how he feels about himself. I mean, this movie was just chock full of so much information and so many
information, gems. Movie,
absolutely,
like kind of like how Beyonce's song Black Parade is.
Yeah,
all information packed in one song. Yeah, but I think that you can be happy as a billionaire, just being happy in what you do, being happy with yourself, being happy where you are with what you have, knowing that you can make things better. Today is today. Tomorrow was tomorrow. You can't go back and take that energy back. You can't do anything different because we're here right now at this present moment. So what are you going to do in this present moment to be happy, to fulfill your dreams, to, reach your highest goal or whatever it is that you want to do? So you can be happy just having a different perspective on life, changing your attitude, maybe your behaviors and your patterns of how you think about things and how you relate to things. Like, say for instance, I have children, and they do things that I don't like them to do, but they're kids, so I can sit there and watch, see how it's going to be outcome. Instead of fussing at my children, I just let it play out and just observe, because my mind, I'm older than them and they're so much younger. So they're not thinking like how we're thinking. Everything seems almost new and exciting to them. Oh, let me do this. Oh, look, let me do it. I know how to do this dance now. Look, do it with me. It's just excitement of things, like getting back that joy, that creativity, that just feeling just oneness with yourself and not worrying about what's going on around you or how you're doing it, when you're going to get it done, when it's going to come to you. It will come to you. You just got to continue to work on the process. We always say how, right? But actually, we do know how, because all you got to do is just start doing it. You just start doing it, and everything will just
change your mind. And I think that's what Joe did, because when Joe was thinking one way in the beginning, right, about his life and things of this nature, as a matter of fact, because when they saw his life before him, it looked really sad. It really did. It looked really sad. But when he came back, he had learned to appreciate the small things in life, and it made his life so much better. And he realized that, he had a whole different new perspective on life when he came back, and I think that was, of course, because, 22 showed him the way. So there's just so many different things, like I said, we can talk about. Now I'm going to go really, really off the rails, and I'm going to talk about something as far as it relates to 22. Okay. Now, we know the situation we are in right now. Me and you and I, we talk about this, quite a bit, what's going on, this and that, this nature, and the signs and things, the signs that are around us that we don't really pay attention to. So when I saw the number 22, and I started thinking about this new soul, right? And different than all the rest of the souls. This one soul was different than all the rest of the souls and was hesitant, resistant to coming down to earth. And I'm wondering, maybe we need that type of energy to come to the earth to change things. And I started thinking, because, we talk about the fact that right now the changes that we're going through and things is like birthing a baby, right? And when you're in the throes of labor, you feel like you're going to die. You're going to feel like this baby's never going to come out. The pain is unbelievable for most of us, but we have to go through it. Like you say, you have to go through the process to get to the end, of what you want. And so as a society, as a world, I'm thinking about 22 because we're in 2021 now, right? And if we're in the throes of birthing this new reality, then maybe it's a soul like 22 that we're waiting to come down here and change things for us. I don't know. That's just something I just saw when I saw, because I just feel like they're always telling us about things in movies. And so, you kind of look a little deeper, you can find more and more deeper information about these things, So, I mean, I know that's a crazy theory, but I'm a crazy person. So, I just have to say that I think based on this movie that 2022 is going to be the year that we're really going to see the new expanded, more, compassionate world. A world full of more love than we've seen before. If we could get that energy of 22 to come back down here to earth, and kind of change the energy, I think that would be great. So we'll see. We only have another year. We'll see if I'm correct about that. We'll come back and talk about it.
I think those changes, because we, like you said, we're in the threshold of birthing this baby, and we're putting all the pieces together: the arms, the legs, the head, the eyes, the hips, and everything is coming into form. So in this 2021, we're as up to a 5, is that we're in a process in the middle of the fork at the road. We had to decide which way we want to go. Left, right, neutral, north or south, what direction you want to go in, because this is going to determine, this is like the breaking point, like as they say, the melting pot of things. This is where you have to either make a decision on what you want to do, pick a side, come together, whether it's birthing your new projects or doing something different, changing your behavior, changing your way you look, the way you dress, all these different things that can go about. But it's mainly making a career and branding yourself into this new technology era. Well, it's not nothing new, but it's really new because it's like it just being like water just being dushed on you, like it just being, just really poured on you right now. All this change over from
like we're being immersed in all of this, all of these changes, and the technology and everything is just going so fast. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up, but in the process, you just got to do what works for you, because you can't worry about everything around you. You got to just keep up with your own pace, because that's what's going to work with your own tribe, your own people that you are connecting with. And this year is definitely about some form of change, and we will see a breakthrough come mid-September going into October. That it'll be more of a loving compassion. We were really working with ourselves in the community kind of work, being a service to one another, whether it's farming or this coming together to live together, because this can be a 5-year and we can be coming in shacking up together sometime, to keep the costs down on bills. So we're going to be struggling and having a hard time, So we're independent, but yet we're depending on other people to help out as well too. So you won't be doing it all by yourself. It won't be so much of a heartache or a burden on you. This is a little bit more flexibility and freedom, even with your job. Normally you can do a 9 to 5. Now you can do a 9 to 5 on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Well, let me see, because like I said, I have my notes, and I just want to make sure we hit on some of these points in the movie that I really thought were worth talking about. Let me see here. Oh yeah, when they talked about being in the zone, and you know how it is to be in the zone.
Yeah. You know what? He went back to that piano to get him back into that space. He put himself into that zone. And in that zone, he was able to find 22 and get her out of her zone because she felt that she couldn't make it. She wasn't going, she didn't have a purpose in life. But, he showed her that you do have a purpose in life and you have to just let go of that fear. Sometimes you just got to just let go and let things occur naturally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And another thing they said was the fact that having a passion and being obsessed is all in the same spectrum, right? So sometimes we can take that passion and it goes overboard to obsession, and that's too much because you're so narrowly focused that you're not letting any other life into your space. And and then it makes you feel that if you don't hit that goal to getting being that famous pianist like he wanted, then your life is not worth anything. And the bottom line is that is not what life is about. It's about the everyday and what we do every day that affects the entirety of our lives. So I thought that was an interesting point, as with so many. And like I said, I just think that all of the music that was involved, all the music references, even the store that Moonwind's mom was running was called, I think, the Half Note, another reference to music. So I thought that was very interesting. So was there anything in the movie to you that just like struck you, hit you like really hard, or like, wow, that was something I wasn't expecting?
Well, when he was trying to get back into Earth, he couldn't go where 22 took him to she took him to like some kind of a mentor, an advisor, the man. What's his name? The man on the what's his name? Moonwind? The guy?
Which one? The one on the boat?
Yeah, the one on the boat.
Yeah, Moonwind, yeah. Mm-hmm. He was the little shaman.
The shaman. She took him to Moonwind to see if he can help him get back onto Earth. Well, the surface they were on was too much for him, that they had to go to a thinner surface to let him in.
Yeah.
But in that reality of opening that surface, they had him meditate, like, where you from, what you doing.
Sure did.
Get into that zone. You have to raise your vibrations up. So when he was getting into that zone, he was raising his vibration to where he was and what he was doing and how he was feeling. The vortex started to open up. It's so he see himself in many different aspects, but it was like as if he was time traveling through certain scenarios, and then the first one he saw, he wanted to jump into the body, but he was in a hospital.
Right. Right.
So that triggered me because my mom, she just passed away, which is your aunt. She just passed away. I'm gonna say passed away. She made her transition. And at that point, when I was there at the hospital with her, between life and death, it was like when he jumped into that body and all the things that they were saying before he jumped into the body, like, like first they stopped him to don't go there because you're going at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. So he jumped into his body. And at that point, I felt like at that moment, it was between like, you're fighting for your life as if you're watching your life go by and you have to make a decision if you gonna continue this life or you're gonna continue the next transition of life.
The next, yes.
The next. Yes. So that was symbolic for me, my mom in a hospital situation. Like maybe she wanted to go to transcend to the next level and not be here on this earth anymore because she felt like maybe she had already I believe she done her purpose. I mean, the many things that she has done, she taught us, she adopted so many children. She was a teacher, a homeschool teacher. She had many gifts and talents. I just think that, her skills, her purpose was being fulfilled for her. And maybe this
Build
was
her purpose.
to fulfill her purpose. It was her time to make her transition. It's sometimes it's how we leave this world makes us bitter and sad or happy and joyous. So that kind of struck something to me, as if he was watching his body and making a decision to jump in his body so he can be alive and go finish and pursue his dreams.
And it was interesting because the Moonwind, the guy, he told him, he says, can you get me back to Earth? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. He's like, well, he died. He's like, oh, wait a minute, you're untethered, because he's what basically it's like when you take like okay, well, let's say when you meditate, some people can meditate and then they'll find themselves going into this other dimension and things of that nature, whereas their bodies are still here, but their soul or their spirit or whatever is going to another place, but it's still tethered to the body. The spirit is still tethered to the body, but when you die, that's when that tether is broken. And you're no longer part of your body, so it's like, oh wow, how are we going to do this? I'm used to getting people back who are just who are tethered to their bodies, and they just need to get back there. But you are untethered. But then, of course, there was still a way to do that. And as we were watching that scene was happening, I still am thinking about quantum physics. I'm still thinking about those aspects of quantum physics and how we view death. And when you're talking about quantum physics, there is no death, no such thing as death. And that's what was happening in the movie. Like you said, we don't know where they were going, the great beyond, and I'm saying they may have been going, and once they went through there, they were reborn again in another place, another time, another, I'm saying we don't know, but it's obvious that it seems like that is not the end, the way that we think of the end, so
and that was. They didn't express the great beyond in the movie at all. They barely expressed the earth in the movie, or where they were even at in the middle of. Well, he did say we were in the middle of both. Well, he ain't mentioning like that, but they were in the middle between both life and death. Yeah, life and death.
Yeah. So it's just all I can say is that there are so many different things we can say about this movie. And what I loved about it is it finally was bringing these concepts of quantum physics into the main front. Now, you and I, we've talked about shows like The Flash and Rick and Morty and Friends, and they kind of put those quantum physics concepts in their writing. But this movie, it did it in a way, to me, what I liked about it is it made it personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a personal person, you can take these concepts and think about your own life and maybe try to make some changes based on, the ideas that they were bringing out, which is basically enjoy, appreciate, be in gratitude. We talk about that a lot, being grateful for just all the things that are good in your life instead of concentrating on the things that aren't, and the fact that the way that he learned this is this. I was just so impressed with this. I think this is going to be my number one Pixar film from now on. I think this is going to be the one, because honestly, I can't wait to go back and watch it again, because I know I'm going to see something else or hear something else, that I didn't see in the beginning. So, this film was definitely worth the watch, and it should be watched more than once, I think, in order to really kind of grasp a lot of it.
Yeah, because they were talking about a whole bunch of things, like even from your diet and the way you eat, that's engineered food that you're eating. Put those chips down.
Oh, right, exactly. He did tell the guy to put his chips. See, that's what I'm saying. Just so many gems all through this movie, if you just really pay attention to what they're trying to tell us, about how we can improve ourselves and improve everything, pretty much. So
yeah. It was basically like, to me, like, what was the point of you putting this movie out and you telling pretty much this movie's about finding your purpose? Or was there another meaning behind finding your purpose? in the process of finding your purpose, these are some of the issues or challenges that you may be faced with. Let's say, you going from a 9 to 5 to doing gigs.
Yeah.
you know, that's
Yeah.
that's that's a huge difference, because now you're learning how to um, survive on your own, and not, going to a work where the work is already there and you have to follow their rules and protocol. You following your own rules and protocols and trying to vent and see what's out there for you and how you can go about of making a life, or as they say, your calling, your purpose, your mission, fulfilling your vision, whatever that you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it's like the
Absolutely.
whole point of that.
I totally agree with you, Kaya. I think that we have a lot to learn about ourselves and who we are, and I think this movie is just the tip of the iceberg, because there's so much for us to know about who we are and how we interact with this world around us, and how we can change that just by changing the way we think. And that was the main thing that I loved, is that it wasn't that Joe had to be, well, as a matter of fact, he did get his dream, and he realized that, okay, now what? It wasn't all about that. But when he changed his mind, just changed the way he thought about things. He didn't all of a sudden get $1 million. He didn't, get a great new job. He just started to realize, let me start changing the way I think, and I can change everything else. And I think that's absolutely the key to everything that we're trying to accomplish, is to change the way we think first, and then everything else will follow.
Like, what was the reason of him? Like, when he went back to go find, when he got into the zone playing the piano, he took off the regular piano note and put whatever she bought, which she have found on earth that was meaningful to her, that had a purpose to her, for her to get, her feelings about what it feels to have a purpose, or even to feel to live, even to feel to taste food, to breathe air,
Yeah.
So he went back, to find her so she can go back into earth with that badge.
Yes.
And and it was like between you and me, but since he found his purpose, he wanted her to have that experience and find her purpose, 22 purpose. So at the end, when she found his purpose, he can only go so far back into earth.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you what I learned. I'm sorry to interrupt you on that, because I remember that part. And what I was thinking was that the first time when he was trying to go down and kept pulling him back, because he wanted to try to get back to earth. But once he accepted that, okay, this is not me for me. I understand now. This is about 22. Me helping him is not about her. Is not about me. And when he said, "I'll go with you. I can't go, as far, but I'll go as far as I can," and that letting go, and he was so happy, even though he knew he wasn't going back. He wasn't going to fulfill his dream. But then that didn't matter. That didn't matter, and that's what I love. And because it didn't matter, when he was finally ready to accept that, okay, this is fine, what did they say? Oh, we're going to give you another chance. They see, that's what I'm saying. But he was already accepted. He wasn't like, oh, if I do this and maybe they'll give me another chance. No, he was like, I get it. It's not about me. You know what I'm saying? And this is about, and so I'm going to put myself aside and make this about, making 22's dream happen, or making things happen for 22. And it all came back to him again. That karma came back. So we just learned that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, as a mentor would. A mentor can only teach you so far, that you have to fly on your own.
Yes, yes.
And then, what sparked me was, how they were giving out the assignments to the for the mentor to get with the student. I'm saying that as mentor student. So, they had the picture about what this person was before, and now you're going to go on earth and do whatever it is that you may feel you have a calling for. So to me, that's like a south node. The south node is where you come from, what you already have done in this world, what you already have done and what you already had completed in another world, or it could be the same world. And now you come into this world on the north node axis, which is coming to with these same skills that you had prior life. Now it's like, how are you going to utilize those same skills in this life, but for more on a greater humanitarian level to help one another? Because he was helping her find her purpose as a mentor.
Yes, he was. He was. And it's amazing because initially it was a selfish motive. He's like, okay, well, let me get this, get this badge so I can get the badge and I can leave. But in the end, it ended up being he was very selfless and he put himself aside for the benefit of 22, which I just loved it. I loved the I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
I said,
oh, okay. Okay. I just love the way that they presented that, especially in a kids movie. And a lot of times in a lot of the movies, things may not be, you may not get it directly, like understand everything the movie is saying, but some of that is getting inside, it's getting inside your mind, and it's gonna, have an impact on the way that you think. I really believe it will. It does with kids and things, even adults.
That's why I love to watch the movie Moana. It's something similar to that, but on a different level. Because she was still finding her purpose, her calling, because that water called her when she was that birth baby. And I just find that movie so.
So you see a connection between that movie and this one?
Yes, when he held up that thing like this, well, the thing when he put the little seed to the side, that's the same thing Moana did. She held up, because he was showing her 22. So that seed of what she resembled, what it was to be here on life, to live. The seed, bagel, the sucker, all those things that she grabbed along the way. Well, Moana had this what do you call it? Some charm, spark, stone, whatever, to ignite the heart of Tafiti to bring her back, because she was the same way. She was so, in her hurt and her pain and her fear that she couldn't see anything else beyond that. So when she held up the light to her to resemble of what she loved to do and loved to be, it sparked her to come back into who she was, which was Tafiti.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch Moana again. But I understand the similarity of the concepts, of us having to basically look inside of ourselves and find that passion, that spark, to do what we're meant to do here on this earth while we're here. So, I mean, I think Pixar movies are really, really delving into some deep concepts, but in a way that's understandable for just regular people. And I think it's important, because back to the physics thing, and then I'm gonna say we can wrap this up, but I'm just gonna say, because that was of course very important to me, is that I think that we tend to think of things like physics and quantum physics especially as out of our realm. That's something that doesn't really have anything to do with us, but it really does, and it has something to do with impacts all of us. So I think we have to start, bringing these concepts into our everyday lives, of meditation. They also brought up the chakras in that film. He says to breathe through your chakra. I thought, oh, listen to this. I mean, I was so impressed. I loved it, and I think that this movie is going to help move us forward in changing the way that we think about ourselves and how we interact in this world.
Totally can agree with that. Yes.
So Kya, like I said, there's many things we could be talking about this movie, but I just wanted to kind of sit down with you and see what you thought and what you got from it, and in comparison to what I got from it. I'm interested to see what other people are going to get from this movie, but no one's getting this quantum physics aspect. And I don't understand that. So I figure like I have to bring it into the forum and let them know, hey, there's something else. There's another level to this movie that, you may not have seen because you're not involved in that area, but it's there, and I'm loving it. So all right, so Kya, thank you so much for coming and talking with me. I hope for you to come again and we can talk about some other things. Why don't you give your contact information in case people want to check you out and check out what you do with the numbers or get a reading or anything like that.
Okay, so my website is www.kyafrench.com. That's my website. You can also on my website schedule a booking session. I have a lot of information on my website about numerology as well too. My Instagram is know your number, KNOWYOURNUMB. The E is a 3RS. So know your numbers, but the E is a 3. Also on my website, you can sign up for a free monthly moon newsletter. When you do reach the website, yeah. So it's free information every month. We give you myself and Lloyd, which is my partner. We give
Strayhorn.
Lloyd Strayhorn. We does the free moon monthly reading every month. So for every month, you can go on there and sign up for it and view your monthly moon newsletter every month. And that I also write for the New York Amsterdam News as well too. I write for their horoscope column, so you can also pick that up. It is internationally, so it's local in some places. So you can pick it up, and on page 18, you'll find that the horoscope is there, numerical horoscope.
You know what, Kya, what I want to do is I want to have you come back and for us to talk more about numerology and astrology and, things that are going on and how this relates to the things that are happening now. I think that would be a very interesting conversation that people would be interested in hearing from you about. And so I hope you come back and we can talk about that.
I sure will. Thank you so much for having me on today, Audrey.
Oh, you are so welcome, my cosmic cousin, and I'll be talking to you soon. Guys, thank you for joining us. This was our one of our first broadcasts, so hang in there with us. And I'm going to say one more thing. Mm-hmm. Our cousin created our intro for this show for the Cosmic Corner. She did a wonderful job. I still don't think I am up to the level of her intro, but I figure like this. They used to say you don't dress for where you are, you dress for where you want to be. So I am, so I am going to rise to the level of that intro because I think it was beautiful, and I want to do it justice with the content. So guys, hang in there with us. It's gonna get better. I promise you. We're on the road, and Kya, I hope to see you soon. Thank you guys from the Cosmic Corner. You have anything else you want to say?
No, just peace and love, and just check on your loved one, reach out to someone, give them a call, check in. You just never know what suddenly can happen in this world. So, and just continue to work on your mission, your purpose, whatever that you have a passion for. You work on that.
All right, then. Well, thank you so much, guys. And that's the end of our discussion of the movie Soul. And I hope you guys go and see it and let us know what you think about it.